1 week on since that devastating Easter Sunday attack in Sri Lanka. In fact, there were attacks, sadly. Scores were killed, hundreds injured when suicide bombers struck hotels and churches in Colombo and also elsewhere in the country. As we heard from the Reverend Mark Lane-Smith this morning, students have been gathering at the University of Reading to mark those who lost their lives. Let's speak to members of the Association of Sri Lankan Muslims in Reading. I've got Luke Harris. We've also got Bazir Rahman and also Jazil. Make sure I get this right. Fuzzy, is that right? Yes. Good. Welcome. Welcome all. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Wow. A week on. Lukeman, what do you make of it? A week on. I was thinking about it, and actually it almost feels like a bigger shock than it was when the news came through.
Yeah. Now, Phil, what happened in Sri Lanka on this Easter Sunday, Black Sunday we call it, is really unforgivable and brutal in the catastrophic proportions. We, not only the community in Sri Lanka, Muslim community in Sri Lanka, but even the community here in UK, all shell-shocked, to call it. And I used to call it, this is what is called the deer in the headlight, syndrome, where when a deer comes to a headlight, how it stacks, we are so shocked. So it's actually when the Christians, our Christian brothers and sisters who were in prayer, they were, killed in cold blood that way. And to quite frankly say, we are all shocked, to see, and we have to condemn with the severest. All the faith groups, right, have condemned. And to tell you something, yesterday, the whole day, we were in London. We had a, day-long vigil there. And firstly, we had at the opposite the House of Commons, Sri Lankan Muslims, based in UK, through Cosmos and SLMDI UK, two organizations, organized this. And we had a silent walk to a church, Methodist church in London, and we had a remembrance service, all faith remembrance service, and we gathered at the end of the day at the opposite the Sri Lankan High Commission, so for another vigil, where we all, the fact that this is not acceptable, and this is not in our name, whatever happened, and we condemn with all the emphasis at our disposal.
Because when you look at this, it's interesting because on the ground in Sri Lanka, how has there's been a reaction, a remarkable reaction. We were hearing about what happened at the University of Reading. Later we were talking about a pulpit swap in Maidenhead in reaction to this, where an imam, a vicar and a rabbi have swapped pulpits, and they've been addressing on various different days. And that is a remarkable thing. But Christians, Muslims, other faiths all get on in Sri Lanka in general, on the ground.
Yeah, now, as you know, in Sri Lanka, it's a multi-faith community lives. So we live collectively together, Buddhist, Hindu, Muslims, and Sri Lankan, without any issues in Sri Lanka. And then, as we know, as we are Muslims, we never expected such an attack. It's shocked us. And also, as we know, it's not Islam. Having this kind of terrorism is against the Islam. Islam is always spread the peace and harmony within the community. And also, we on the school and then even everywhere, we always mixed with other colleagues, with the culturally. And then we follow our not individual culture, we follow our Sri Lankan culture to build our momentums. So that's where in Sri Lanka at the moment, everybody is now united. All the community is united now. So they are fighting against these terrorisms and then to bring a good harmony and then again to build the trust within the community at the moment. So that's why we are promoting it, as Mr. Lukman said. All the community is coming for the solidarity. So we are saying that, okay, we are united, and these people who have done this ones need to be accountable, and this is not accepted at all in Sri Lanka.
Because it was interesting. We were hearing earlier from the Reverend Mark Lane-Smith. His initial reaction was, "Oh, not again! Here we go again." And initially he felt anger, and actually he said, "No, I'm not going to feel that anger because actually that's what the terrorists want. They want us to fracture, don't they? They don't want us to come back together." But nevertheless, were you concerned about, say, family back here and of course Muslims here, Sri Lankan Muslims here in Reading?
Yes, we all really shocked, and then this is very sad for us because we have come after like a very 30 years bloody war. Then so it's for the last 10 years we were very peace united. We've come across all these things, but now it's all back to the war time. So we have now the barracks, like the checkpoints and everything. So and it's tension between the community. So we live like in one town. We live together in one city. So now it's the government, like the forces and all these attacks, like now created a tension between the communities. So now each other they look like in the anger, and then the suspected to point. So when a man crossed with the big beard and then cap, so he looks like a terrorist. So we didn't want this, and then so actually I just wanted to add one thing, like. So the forces, they had the report from intelligence and they had and everything, but the government failed to save the people. That's what I wanted to say.
Yes, it does seem there has been some intelligence mistakes here. And the other thing is that when you look at what happened this week with the Foreign Office saying, we don't travel to Sri Lanka unless essential. I mean, when it comes to the economy of Sri Lanka, because sadly tourist hotels were hit as well as churches, it's bad for Sri Lanka and its economy and the citizens of Sri Lanka, isn't it?
Yeah. No, Phil, thanks for bringing that up. And this is what we want to actually point out. The issue is there are greater machinations at work, beyond this cat paws, who did this despicable act. Now, what you need to understand is, since the war ended in 2009, Phil, there was a relative peace, as he said, but then we had, two or three anti-Muslim communal violence, right, instigated by these majoritarian, supremacist elements in Sri Lanka. And Muslims have been, by and large, they have been very peaceful. They took it up and they followed, instruction to be patient and all that, and leave it to this one. But till now, the impunities have not been punished, right? So the culprits are still at large, and compensation has not been paid properly. So this was the time, this one. So basically, if you think this type of things would have been directed at those elements, that if whatever the justification, right, what these terrorists are seeking, they would have done it. But it did not happen. It went to a relatively peaceful Christian community where Muslims had been having excellent relationship. We both are minorities, right? And they went and hit those Easter Sunday churches, as well as the economic targets you said, the foreigners who comes to these hotels. So what they wanted is, they wanted a captive audience to act on this information in the world media, which means Christian type of thing, as well as the foreign who are affected by this one, rather than the people who are
Yes.
indigenous, which might not take as much world attention as it should be. So what I'm trying to say is, there is a greater machination at work, and the political leaders in Sri Lanka and the intelligence failed to pick up what the Muslim committee has already told them. Also, so many times they have told them to have a eye on this group which is turning violent, right? So please act on it. They went 2-3 times, they have told them, right? But still then they did not act. And 2 weeks back there was a specific information that they are even those were not. And the Prime Minister and the President keep on saying various cock and bull stories regarding that they did not see it, or they didn't have this one, but all the information was available for action. So what I'm trying to say in short is, number one, the government should be held to account because they failed to act on the information. Number two, this whole thing has to be taken in the context of the wider context, because even if you say the ISIS who has claimed responsibility, you need to think that ISIS has killed more Muslims. 80% of their victims in the world has been Muslims, right? Because it was a Muslim community. Muslims have been, even in Sri Lanka, there's the same thing. They told that this group like this, right? So, but not acting. So, this has to be, we need to wait what the investigators are going to do, but there is something which is much more than what meets the eye at the moment.
And As for family back home, none of them were affected by what happened last weekend.
And none of them is affected. But thing is like every Muslim villages is being shocked, and then the security forces they are searching out. They are doing thorough checks. Check post back again, so they stop and checks, and then emergency laws are there, and then they can check. And so everybody's in a fear, and then everybody's in a fear in a situation that okay, anytime anything can happen. So because of this attack happened last week, now Sri Lanka straight away went back to our 30 years bloody war. So the country is completely changed overnight. So tourists are going away. Completely people are in fever and then confused stage at the moment.
Yes, it's scary times. And just finally, if anybody's listening to this, and I suppose local community, how are you trying to make a difference? Because whatever happens, you've got to start putting all this back together, haven't you?
Yes, we always stand together. So now so we welcomed all the Christian peoples to pray in our mosque. So the mosque was open for them, and the same other way around. So the Christian brothers, they were guard on the Friday prayers. They said, okay, you pray, we wait outside, and we guard this. So we always stand together. So now all the community leaders, they are standing together and help the security forces to save the people and everything. So we always work together. That's what I can say.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for coming in this Sunday morning. It's been an early start for you, but thank you very much for your words as well. And I'm sure we'll speak again. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah. Just one announcement.
Yes.
Next Saturday,
Yes.
Phil, actually the ASLAM, right, the Association of Sri Lankan Muslims, in association with the ACA, that's Alliance for Cohesion and Racial Equality based in Reading, we are all organizing all faith vigil at the town centre next Saturday.
Okay, what time is that?
That's at 3 o'clock.
3 p.m.
Yeah, 3 p.m. for about 1 hour, where all the faith leaders, even Sri Lankan Christian groups and the Sinhala groups, will be coming together to express our joint solidarity, and condemnation of this act and solidarity that need to stand up together, right?
Yes.
So that's happening next Saturday
At 3 p.m.
At 3 p.m. at the town centre.
Thank you very much indeed for coming in, and I hope it goes well next week. It is coming up to 7:21, and yes, more on this in just a